Welcome to the Data Hall YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to look into how do we filter rows in R. So we are going to use the Tidyverse package for this purpose. If you haven't installed this Tidyverse package, then you need to install .packages, execute this command, install .packages, and within parentheses, you need to write the name of the package. Then you need to load the package. So I have already installed the package, so I'm not going to execute this, but I'm going to load this package. So we load the package in our environment using the library function. So library, and then within parentheses we write the name of the package. So click on the row that you want to execute, press Control Enter, and that would execute the row. Okay, so there are two things that we can work with. So we can either filter rows or we can filter columns. So in R, if we want to filter rows, then we use filter function, and if we want to filter columns, then we use select function. What do we mean by filter? We just want to subset certain data sets. So if we just want to take a subset of certain rows, then keeping the columns constant, that means we do not want to exclude or include new columns or exclude the current columns, but we just want to subset the rows, then we use filter. If you want to subset the columns, then we use select function. So let's import data using the read.csv function. The data file that we are going to execute import is example data.csv, and there are 500 observations and 5 different variables. So we have ID of the individual, their race, their marriage status, wages that they have earned per hour, and the number of hours that they have worked. Okay, so in this video we are going to just focus on filtering rows, and the next video we are going to work with filtering columns. Okay, so we write the name of the data that we want to filter, and this is the sign, this is the pipe sign, that means and then what, and then so take the example data. This is the data that we want to take, that we have just imported, and then filter the rows where wages is greater than 40. So we are using the filter function, and we are giving our condition that we want to work with. And once we have executed all this command, we would want to save it in its own object or data frame. So this new data frame would be created over here, which would contain the result from this command. So let's execute this command, and we would see that an object or a data frame had been created. And if we click on this data frame, we can see that so in our original data we had wages that were less than the 40 condition that we have mentioned. So there were certain individuals who were earning more than $40 per hour, and this is what we have filter. So we just have more than 40, right? So all the individuals who were earning more than $40 per hour, and we can see that there are 113 observations, and that means that there are 113 individuals who are earning more than $40. Okay, what if we wanted less than $40? Then again, I would execute the same command, just change the sign and save it in its own object, which is wage 40 less. This is the name of the object. This is what whatever name you would like to give to the object. So we can see that the object had been created, and we only have wages that are less than 40, right? What if we wanted greater than or equal to? Then we would use greater than equal to sign or less than equal to sign. So I remember that greater than should come before the equal sign, and similarly less than should come before the equal sign. So if we execute both these commands using Control Enter, we can see that these two are the ones that are just created, right? Okay, so what if we just wanted to filter the individuals that are married? So in this case, I'm using an equality sign, and remember, when we use double equal to sign, that means that we are using equality, right? We are not assigning certain value, but we are using the equality sign. So what we want is, we want to filter the rows where married is equal to single. So this variable, this married variable, I mean, it's not married is equal to single, but this variable married contains only the string single. So remember, when we have a string, we use inverted commas, right? So this is the data frame that is saved, and you can see that we only have individual that are single. Similarly, we can use not equal to sign. So this exclamation stands for not. So whatever the condition is, it would just take the opposite of it. So in this case, it is so if we want to filter the rows where the married variable does not have the word single, so that would obviously be mean that we want to filter the individuals that are married. So we just get all those individuals that are married. But remember that we cannot use this not equal to not sign with greater than in this way, because from our previous logic, you would conclude that if we wanted to filter the rows that are not greater than 40, then we should use it like that. But you would notice that we get an error, and the similar error sign was displayed over here. This, in our studio, this means that we have certain error in this line of code. So if we want to use not with a greater sign, then we would have to use the not before wages. So we want wages not be greater than 40, right? And that would work, and we would get our object, right? Okay. So see how this environment is getting cluttered. We have multiple objects, and it would be a good idea to see how do we clear this environment. We can just click over here and clear the environment. But remember, if we use this option, there are other options, but if you use this option, then it would delete all the objects in the environment. So remember how we imported this original data, that would also be lost. So we just re-imported the data. Okay. So we are done with this not equal to sign, this not sign, right? What if we have multiple conditions? And remember, if you look at this line of code, you'd see that we would have to scroll towards the right side. You would have to use this horizontal scroll to look at the whole code. But what we can do is we can, take this code at different lines. So that works fine in R. We can take these lines at different levels, and that would work perfectly fine. So what we are going to do over here is we are going to take example data, and then we are going to filter rows where married is equal to single, and this sign is used for and, where race is equal to white. So remember how we are using double equal to sign. So we want only the individual that are single white, right? So they are not married and they are white individuals. This is what we get. We have all the white single individuals, right? Remember, we can also use comma instead of And see, there are 102 observations. If we execute this again, we still get 102 observations. But for sake of consistency, I would recommend that you use the and sign rather than comma. We can also do or, and for all we use this this bar sign, right? This means or. So if we want to filter the rows that where the individual is single or white, so either single or white, but here we need single and white. So these in this case it should fulfill both these conditions. Whether it's in this case where we are using or sign, it should either fill this condition or fulfill this condition. So this is what we get. We get 418 observation where the individual is either single or white. So you don't get the other data. So just have a quick look at how the and or works. So with and, if both the conditions are true, then it would be considered a true. In all other cases, whether a single condition is met or both conditions are not met, that would be considered a false, and that would not fulfill the criteria. So in this case, both these conditions should be true. That is, the individual should be married, the individual should be single and white. Then we would consider it a true condition. Whereas in or, even if a single condition is true, the condition is fulfilled. The only case where the condition is not fulfilled is when both the conditions are false. So, and similarly over here, when the individual is single or white, so either of this condition being true would fulfill the condition, and that row would be included in our data set. Okay, so let's move forward. We can use multiple conditions, right? So in this case, I am using 3 different conditions where wage is 30 or wage is 40 or wage is 50. So we get our observations around wage. We get 35 where either wage was 30, 40 or 50, not greater than, but just exactly one of these numbers. We could have used so when there are multiple conditions or conditions, we can use this in sign, which is percentage in percentage. And what this means is that we want to take the example data and then we want to filter the wage variable where the wage contains any of these strings or numbers, right? So remember, this C is used to combine for combining different things. So so any of these conditions is met, then that row would be included. And if you look at wage and wage 2, this wage was coming using this this syntax, whereas wage 2 was coming by was generated by using the percentage in percentage syntax, and they both have same number of observations and they are identical, right? Okay, we can also filter missing values. So, but we'd have to be cautious about that when we are working with missing values. So when we want to filter the missing values, let's say wage is missing and ours is missing. Remember, in R, the missing value is represented by NA. So NA means that there is a missing value. Okay, so let me just close these tabs. Okay, so if we use this syntax where we consider them as a string, then what would happen is that what we are saying is that where wage is missing and ours is missing, where both the values are missing, and we get 0. But if we look at the data, there would be certain rows where wage and ours are missing. So at least we can figure out 4 of them right from here. So why is it showing 0 number of observations? And the reason is that this is not the right way of working with NAs. And similarly, we cannot use it without inverted commas. That won't that won't work. And see how it is giving us a warning. It is saying that use is.na. Is.na is a function that checks whether the value is a missing value or not. So what it is saying is that when you're working with missing values, you don't need to treat it as a string or a number, but rather you need to use a specific function. What it says is that take the example data and then filter if wage is null and if hours is null, right? So this is how it works. And if we look at the data that is generated, which is what all NA values, this is the object, this is the data frame, and we can see that we have 4 different observations where wage and hours is null. We can also do is not null, right? As we discussed, this exclamation is used for not, right? So that would give us all the observations, wage not NA, right? So that would give us all the observation where wage is not missing, right? And we can see there are 10 observations where wage is missing. We can use multiple functions within filter. So filter, it doesn't need that. You just have to specify different values. You can use functions to specify certain values. So what we are going to use between function, and that would filter the rows that are between certain range. So we take the example data and then we filter the rows that are between, and within between we are first going to specify the variable that we are going to look into. So wage is between 30 and 40. So this is what we get. We get 107 observations where wage is between 30 and 40. And we can also use this near function where it says that where wage is near 30. And obviously we can specify certain tolerance level. So how much, should 29 be also included or not in this filter? So we get near 30, and it shows us that by setting the tolerance level of 2, we get 29, 30, and 31. So all the values that are near 30. So that was a tutorial on filter function, where we use it to filter certain rows to subset the data based on certain conditions that are fulfilled, right? And if you want to filter columns, then you are going to use the select function, which we are going to discuss in our next video. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video.